Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast, Best Possible Me, where we look at relationship dilemmas, try to open different viewpoints and perspectives in hope that if everyone does this, we all become the best possible me. I'm Cindy.
And I'm Ayala.
Welcome to our episode number 10.
Yes.
Yes, we made it. Number 10. So today we're talking about mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. It's a very interesting story. So the title is, Am I wrong for locking my bedroom door after my mother-in-law kept entering without permission?
Ooh, interesting.
Interesting, isn't it? Well, I can already see this so much to talk about boundary. Just looking at the title, mother-in-law kept entering my bedroom without permission. Okay, so I will start with the story. I, 23 female, have been married to my husband, 31 male, for 3 years, and we are currently expecting our first child. We're both excited but also stressed. I've had a tough pregnancy and the test is really important to me. My mother-in-law, 55 female, lives about 20 minutes away and has a bad habit of just dropping by unannounced. My husband has always brushed it off, saying, that's just how she is and she means well. At first it was annoying but manageable. But lately, she's been crossing serious boundaries. Last month, she came over while I was napping, letting herself in with a spare key we gave her for emergencies, and came into our bedroom to check on me. I woke up to her standing by my bed, watching me sleep. I told my husband it was creepy, and I wanted the spare key back. He said I was overreacting, and she just being motherly. Then it happened again, twice. One time I was in just a t-shirt and underwear, and she actually sat down at the edge of the bed to talk. I told her firmly I needed privacy and rest. So I changed the doorknob on our bedroom door to one with a lock. The next time she dropped by and couldn't get into our bedroom, she freaked out. Apparently, she tried the handle, knocked, and even called my husband at work, saying she was, quote-to-quote, worried something bad happened. Later that night, she called me controlling and rude, saying I was shutting her out of her grandchild's life already. My husband asked if I could just take the lock off to keep the peace. I told him no. She doesn't respect boundaries and the lock stays. Now his whole family is saying I'm being dramatic and that pregnancy hormones are making me paranoid. I honestly don't think I'm wrong, but now I feel isolated and ganged up on by his family. Am I wrong for locking my bedroom door?
Very interesting. I like the fact that this young girl
She's only 23 years
23,
old.
yes. But I like the fact that she has clear boundaries.
Very firm boundaries. She said no. She asked to have the spare key back. She put lock on her bedroom. She has every right to do everything she asked.
100%. And I see a lot of strength in her assertiveness
Definitely.
and her boundaries. So good on you for that.
Definitely, yes.
It's really interesting, the whole concept of the boundaries between adult children and parents.
Yes.
Because we need to take into account a few things. Firstly, it's a mother-in-law and a daughter-in-law, which means that they might have had different types of cultures growing up generally. So
a different generation, we already know that. Yeah.
Yes, she would have a different generation with her parents as well.
Yes.
But it could be that in her household, growing up, there was very clear boundaries between parents and kids, and you wouldn't walk into your parents' room without knocking on the door, for example, or things like that.
Yes.
Whereas it could be that in her husband's household, those boundaries weren't necessarily there. So there might be cultural differences here.
Right. Okay.
That they grew up on as
Very
well.
different household culture. Yeah, I see that. That could be, but we don't know. Yeah.
There's also the element of the mother-in-law in this case, still treating the daughter-in-law as if she was her own child.
And a younger one.
And a younger one,
if I'm being
yes.
honest.
Yep,
Yeah, just
yep.
open the door, coming unannounced. It's
Yes.
almost like it's her own house.
Yes, and maybe not recognizing the fact that these are no longer her children as such, like they were when they were 16 or 10,
Yeah.
but rather these are adults that have their own clear boundaries and expecting their own way of living, which might be
Yes.
very different to yours and the way you raised your child.
Yes, true.
On top of that, there's the question of boundaries that are even stronger or maybe need to be even more defined between adults and their in-laws.
Right.
Because some relationships, I know, the relationship between the in-law and the daughter or son-in-law
Yes,
are
yes.
close, just like they would be with their own parents.
Okay, yep.
Whereas in others, there's a very distinct difference between how you would act and be with your mother versus your mother-in-law, for example, or father and father-in-law.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I see your point, yeah.
And again, I think that part of it is cultural, but part of it is also how the person...
Personal value
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so do you treat your in-law the same way you would treat your parent? Or do you treat them differently and a bit more distanced? Maybe with a bit more respect, but also with a bit more distance.
Yeah. Yeah, I like what you're saying. Respectful, distant. Distant, a little bit distantly, but with respect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I can see a lot of kids loving their parents, but not necessarily always being respectful for them. But then on the other hand, there's this closeness and intimacy, and you can say anything and everything to your parents.
Yes.
Whereas there are other families where,
Yes.
where there will be this respect, but also a kind of a distant kind of relationship.
Right. Okay, they're not coming to your house every day.
For example, yes.
And also depends where people stay, where people live. In this story, the mother-in-law looks 20 minutes away, not that far.
Yeah.
But we live in Australia. There's so many people coming here with their families overseas. That way you can't practically dropping every day unannounced.
Yes.
And there's also situations they come to visit you. They don't have their own place to stay because it's going to be really expensive to stay in a hotel for 3 months. They will stay inside your house. And how does that change your day-to-day routine, your own household dynamic? So it's all very different.
And we also know, especially that she's 23, we also know of a lot of couples that are very young and still live with their parents or one.
We don't know. Yeah, live in the granny flat in the
Yes.
backyard. That could be. Yeah.
So that also happens to some of the couples, again, with cost of living and everything in different countries.
Yes.
So again, that will have a very different relationship altogether when you actually live in the same household.
Yes.
But
this one is different household.
In this story, it is a different household.
Yeah. Another thing I find really interesting is a couple of times she mentioned when she wasn't happy about the mother-in-law just dropping unannounced and use the spare key to open up the house. She was really respectful and she chose to speak with her husband first to say, could you please tell your mom where you wanted the spare key back?
Yeah. Which means that she didn't want to actually open it up with the mother-in-law and say to her, look, this is not okay. So again, you can argue, is this okay or not okay? But she was a bit of passive-aggressive. So she put the lock in place rather than telling her mother-in-law, please don't come in and always knock on the door. She hinted.
Yes, part of the responsibility, do you think a part of the responsibility lies with the husband though? For the husband to communicate, this is what my wife or this is what our household is like. Mom, I would like to have a discussion with you. But didn't seem like the husband had that discussion from what we can see. so far.
We don't know as yet, but obviously she hinted. It wasn't clear if she actually initially told her husband, look, your mom is doing this, please tell her not to do it.
She might have, yeah.
She might,
yeah.
we don't know.
Yes, yeah.
We also don't know if she herself actually told the mother-in-law, look, she hinted, she said, I need my privacy.
Yeah, she said no.
But
yeah.
she didn't clearly say, look, I feel very uncomfortable with you walking into my room or waking up and seeing you here. Do you mind next time knocking on the door? Or, it doesn't...
She might have said, or she probably didn't, or she might just...
We don't know.
Yeah, imagine you wake up not even wearing much clothes in your own bed and someone sitting on the edge of your bed. Yes, it's your mother-in-law, but where did this person come from? You don't know you're expecting her. That's a creepy. I agree. She used the word creepy.
Yeah.
That is creepy.
Yeah, no. I'm not arguing that it's creepy. My question is, did she actually address it with the mother-in-law?
We don't know if she felt comfortable enough,
yes.
or there are cultures you don't want to be disrespectful towards them in front of their face.
Yep.
And
so you send the husband instead.
Well, the husband is a mother-in-law's son.
Yep.
Personally, I think part of the responsibility lies with him to mediate and to communicate, helping to improve this relationship.
Yes, I actually think that it is his job to advocate for his wife and to try and mediate between them. Yes, I agree.
Right. Okay, enough talking about that. Let's move into maybe the mother-in-law's version. Would you like to read that?
Yes. So mother-in-law's version. Before Daniel was born, we tried having children. However, it ended up with a few miscarriages. We also tried after Daniel. However, that was unsuccessful as well. Daniel probably doesn't even remember this, and I never actually mentioned it, as I don't want to freak him out. I lost my husband at a young age, and although I came from a huge family myself, I wanted a large family, but it was really only Daniel and myself for many years. When Daniel finally found Beth, I was so happy, as I felt that finally I will have a son and a daughter. I never wanted to take the place of Beth's parents, but they seemed distant and uninvolved, so I was happy to be there for both of them. Beth is a bit shy and reserved, but I am sure that over time I will show her that she is like a daughter to me, and she can feel closer to me and know that I will always be there for her, no matter what. When Beth and Daniel told me that they were pregnant, I was so happy. So happy. Finally, my family will be large again. Saying this because of all the difficulties I had for my pregnancies, I am a bit worried for Beth. I don't want to tell her about my misfortune, to not give her any, bad omen or anything, and to not stress her out. But it's enough stress for all of us. Lately, I'm finding Beth more and more shutting off and looking for her privacy. I think it has to do with her pregnancy hormones. I can't stop worrying for her, and so I find myself trying to take care of her and check up on her. When she tries to lock herself off, it scares me even more. However, how can I explain this to her, how her behavior is actually scaring me without freaking her and Daniel up about their own pregnancy?
Okay. Very, very different. She did provide a lot more information about her own life, her own trauma that we didn't know about.
Yes, and it seems like Daniel and therefore obviously Beth aren't aware of either. So from Daniel's perspective, he's an only child to an only mom.
Yeah, it's a very small family unit, and he wasn't aware.
And probably also very close. But obviously for the mother-in-law, this whole pregnancy is something that is creating some level of stress and trauma from her own experiences in the
Probably
past.
triggered some of her own
Yes.
trauma. Yes.
And she is a bit in a difficult situation, because if she tells them why it's a trauma for her, she might freak them out or stress them, and she doesn't want to do that. But then not telling them puts her in a very awkward position.
Yes.
So obviously there is some level of secret happening here.
She's hiding. Yeah.
Yes.
On the back of her mind, from her perspective, that's for good reason not to
Yes.
tell them. She doesn't want to freak them out. She doesn't want them to feel any extra pressure, or it's a bad omen, according to her. But would it be? What do you think, Ayala? Would it be more stressful for her to be open up and tell them, this is what happened to me? That's why I'm extra stressed for you. But I also understand your situation is different than my situation.
Yes, I personally think that honesty is the best policy.
Yes.
And actually explaining this to them, and also maybe calming them to show them that, and I don't know details, but that maybe she lost her pregnancies at a very early stage. So in order to, if she mentions that, for example, if it's correct, that might alleviate some stress that it might fall on Beth and Daniel.
Yes.
Relating to their own pregnancy. But it could also help them understand her behavior and why she's becoming so pushy in a way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is she coming every day? Why is she worried? Why is she, in a way, not respecting Beth's boundary? Why is that she believes she has a better and bigger agenda?
Yes, and maybe why she's so emotional about this rather than logical in the way she's behaving towards the whole pregnancy.
Yes. So we can see definitely a lack of open communication between these two households.
Yes. And also there's a difference in upbringing in the relationship, because at least the way the mother-in-law is saying, Beth's family
a bit distant, well, to her observation, I would say. Yes.
Whereas, again, if we take it as it is, that can also explain the difference in the upbringing, in the way that Beth is expecting the relationship between parent and child to be. Whereas,
again, you go back to the household culture you were talking about.
Yes.
Upbringing is different. Yeah.
Yes. But there's also a real strong need that is mentioned by the mother-in-law to actually treat Beth as if she's her own daughter.
I don't know about that one, because she's not. Like, let's be honest, she has her own parents. She has her own upbringing. Yes, I hear people say, well, now my son's married. I'm really lucky. It feels like I have a son and a daughter. To say that and to actually treating your daughter-in-law as your own daughter are two different things.
True, although I do know of situations where the mother-in-law is closer to her daughter-in-law than to her own son, or the opposite sometimes.
Okay.
Because of connections, because of other elements in their life and things like that.
Yes.
So again, different cultures, different situations,
different people, and that might happen. But one thing you mentioned, Ayala, for that to happen is the connection.
Yes,
but we don't see that connection in this story.
No.
This relationship go both ways.
100%.
It always has to be both ways.
With honesty and clarity of where things are coming from. Totally.
Right. Is there another version of way?
Well, let's hear what the husband is thinking about
that's
this whole
right.
situation.
We're talking about doesn't seem like he's mediate much.
Yes.
In between his own wife and his own mother. He's always brushed it off with Beth raise her concerns. So let's hear about his version then. I will start reading the story. Husband's version. I love my wife to bits. She's younger than me by 8 years, and I have been with her since she was 19. So in a way, I feel like at times I need to teach her about life and keeping the peace in families. She had a very English-style upbringing where parents are cold and distant, where I had Mediterranean upbringing where family is your life and you do everything for your family and tell everything to your family who is there to support you physically and emotionally. My dad died at an early age and I grew up as an only child with my mom. So we are very close. Before I moved in with my life, Beth, even though I had my own place, my mom would often come to my place, cook for me, and check up on me. I think it is just how she grew up, and being on her own, it keeps her happy. When I married Beth, my mom started treating Beth as her own daughter. She even said so in her wedding day speech. Now I have a son and a daughter. Beth loved the warmth in our family and often told me that she would love to raise our children more like me and my mom than how she grew up with her own parents. However, now that Beth is pregnant, I feel that this is changing a bit for her. I think she's just a bit overwhelmed from it all and therefore looking for space more than she did before. My mother, on the other hand, since Beth became pregnant, is even more protective and wanting to develop more of a bond with Beth than ever before. As the family is growing, I want both my mom and wife happy. But I'm feeling I'm being pushed in both directions and I'm a bit stuck on how to make both of them happy, yet also keep the peace.
Interesting.
Interesting, isn't it?
So he's very much about seeing family as one big unit. Mm-hmm. So it's hard for him to say, no, I'm siding with my wife against my mother.
Okay. I do appreciate him stating it's difficult. Like at the end, he did say, I'm feeling like I'm being pushed in both directions. I'm a bit stuck. That's the honesty, I would say.
He sounds very honest.
You can see the situation clearly, what it is.
Yeah. Very interesting. Also very interesting that he feels that Beth is closing up now that she's pregnant more than what she was before. So it sounds, at least from his version,
yes,
that there was much more closeness between his mom and Beth before the pregnancy than now. So there's something in his eyes relating to this pregnancy that is pushing his mother to be even more protective, which now we know what that is.
Yes.
But also creating a situation where Beth is more distant than she was before, which again could be the hormones or how she's feeling about the whole pregnancy, but could be something totally different, which we are not aware of.
Right. Okay. I find this interesting. Like you mentioned, the husband mentioned, "Oh, Beth really likes my big family, likes the warmth that." And she even stated she wanted to raise our children the way my mom was like. And it's an interesting turning point that from his eyes, Beth has changed a little bit in the way wanting her space. But I'm also looking back and in the beginning Beth's story that she's having a really tough pregnancy. Having a tough pregnancy is almost like you were constantly being sick. There's symptoms like you have a flu, but it's constant.
Yep.
And this situation, different stages, you were tired. When you were sick, do you want other people to come in and visit you? It's very understandable. Her behavior or her viewpoint might change a little bit.
Yep. No, I'm not questioning that. And pregnancy does different things to different people.
Yeah, some people have a very easy pregnancy and some people have a really difficult. One of my friends were throwing up every single day, having morning sickness until the day she went in to give birth.
Yep. The same story with, I had it from the 2nd month to the 7th month. I would throw up 7 to 9 times a day.
So that's tough. You wouldn't want your mother-in-law to drop in, see you and say by your bed if that's the state you were in.
Yeah.
So in a way, it doesn't have much to do with her. It's really you being sick and not comfortable, wanting your space. That's totally valid.
Yeah. So pregnancies can be very hard and it makes you also to the person looking from outside, sometimes you become a bit more egocentric because you're going through so many changes, so many things that are happening to your body. Everything, especially first pregnancies,
which for her it is. Yes, yeah.
Everything is so new, so different, so riveting, and you're also really worried about what kind of a parent I'll be, and those kind of questions come in. And
yeah.
Yes, so that happens as well. So I understand him wanting to keep peace.
Yeah, interesting. That's a word he used to keep the peace.
Yeah.
Almost on the superficial level, like on the surface level, I want to keep the peace.
But then he's really not actually dealing with the issue, because he's trying to appease everyone rather than actually finding out what the actual reasons are that this is happening, to try and mediate between the two of them and help each one of them understand what the other person is going through. So it's nice that you want to keep the peace, but you actually need to be much more active than passive in this. And by being passive and just trying to appease, you're not fixing the problem.
No. In a way, it's avoidance, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're avoiding to talking about the deeper issue, the real reason, but just, let's keep the peace. Let's take the lockdown. I'll ask the spare key back from my mom if you agree to take the lockdown. I guess there are things you can negotiate back and forth. Might, in a way, look like it keeps the peace, but down the track, something's going to happen. Something bigger going to happen.
And again, I really understand you wanting to keep the peace, but in a way, the only way you can keep the peace is by actually let's open up and understand where each person is coming from, and let's deal with it.
Right. Yeah. In this whole story, I think we also need to be really mindful that Beth is pregnant, and her health and her well-being should be prioritized among anything else.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Like if they think they are the two households, they want to be really close, they want to do whatever they wanted together. But right now, when Beth is pregnant, the next few months, she needs to be the priority. Her needs to be prioritized first.
Yes. However, I also think that mother-in-law, because she has so much unfinished business relating to her own pregnancies,
that she's not sharing with anyone.
That makes it very hard for her to react in a way that is more respectful and understanding. And I actually think that mother-in-law needs to find an avenue to be able to deal with her own issues so that they won't impact in any way her own son and daughter-in-law.
Yes.
So it's either by opening up and actually sharing with them.
Of course, yeah.
So that there'll be a bit more understanding, maybe then you'll also get your debrief that you actually need here.
Yeah.
And calm you down, or you actually need to go and talk to someone outside of your immediate family.
Yes, yeah.
So that your fears, your concerns will not be put on them so strongly.
Feels a bit safer, a different space. Yeah.
Yes. I applaud to Beth that she actually is raising this.
Yes, she's very assertive, very firm, and she's tried multiple ways to communicate.
Yes, I think that she needs Beth also to recognize the difference, and it seems from what the husband is saying, she is aware of the difference in the relationships. But there's a difference between being aware and actually living it.
Yeah.
And she never lived very warm and very caring. I mean, I'm not saying that her parents didn't care for her.
But the distance and the culture.
But very differently, yes.
Yeah, everyday shopping, cook for you.
And I think that addressing that and understanding in more depth what that actually means for the good and for the bad.
Yes.
Because there is an element of feeling suffocated sometimes.
Yes.
Is really important before she actually has the baby. because I'm feeling that very quickly after she has the baby and the pregnancy is behind her, there might be future
more and more
issues.
conflicts.
Yes,
definitely gonna be conflict.
Yep.
Yes.
So by actually having conversations with the grandmother to be, with her mother-in-law, about what kind of grandmother she would like her to be, how involved, how not involved, where would she like help, where would she not like help, what are the boundaries that she would like to set. It might help both of them have a much better relationship between them and with the grandson or the granddaughter.
Definitely, things will only get more complicated once the baby is born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dealing with that again, not avoiding it, but actually having those conversations and clarifying the boundaries that both of them are comfortable with in an assertive way and in a respectful way will help both of them, I think, create that warmth family that Beth wants.
Yeah.
But without it being overbearing and
suffocating her
and
in
suffocating,
a way. Yes.
for her on the other hand. So mother-in-law will also need to not just continue the way she is used to, but also be respectful to
taking other people's opinions and what they need and wants. Yes. They need to have some bigger conversations, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they all want this closeness, because if you really want this closeness, you can actually have these very honest and open conversations.
Yes.
And
because you want it to work. The end results, you want it the same.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and my feeling is that mother-in-law, because she wants this closeness, and she, at least sounds from her perspective, a very open person and very aware person as well. Hopefully she will also be
open to some adjustments.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing.
So thank you very much, Cindy.
Thank you, Ayala. We had a wonderful episode, really. Thank you. We will see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
If you also have a relationship dilemma that you are struggling with and you would like us to bring it up here anonymously, you can email us on bestpossibleme.podcast@gmail.com. You can also find the email address in our podcast bio. Don't forget to like and follow our podcast so you get the notification of each new episode. See you next week.